And hello, I'm Dan Lutz, and I'm here on the front lines with Tank. How's it going, Tank?
Hello. Everything's coming up roses.
It's smelling like roses. It's looking like roses. Is it roses?
Yes, I think so. I think everything's falling into place, and the world is coming into perfect harmonious balance. And yeah, everything's good, man. Everything's good.
All right. Well, okay. That's the end of that. So good episode. Got 22 people watching. So
Yep.
I guess let's since this is the deadline day, right? So we're right here on August 15th. Well, at least for me, it's the 16th. And
So that makes 6 months. Yeah, I mean 6 months since we started this.
yes, we're this is
6 months from the original deadline, right?
Yeah. So it's 166 episodes in a row, including the lost episode that Tank one day will give it to me one day.
One day. Right now, I'm keeping the mystery alive, Dan.
Yeah.
Any good relationship has a mystery, okay?
Yeah. Just give me that Facebook link, and I'll extract it.
Oh yeah, I will. I'll give you that.
All right.
Yeah. So what is going on today? So basically, I spoke again to the representatives, the translator for the and the mandate for the General Chen, who is like, I don't know, he's like a signatory at the central bank in China and representative for the Ministry of Finance, and one of the Dragon family members, right? But I guess like he's like on the working level, right? And then Mr. Yu, right? So I spoke to the translator, and they were basically yesterday. I had asked him if there was anything else she wanted me to pursue or follow up with these people, and I guess yesterday somewhere in the world that two people that were working with her were assassinated in the central banks, right? Or killed. So she basically said like they're already in violation because they went and killed two people from the central banks, right? So I brought this up and I basically told him yesterday, I'm like, look, Kim says basically you're in violation already. And they were like, wait, we didn't have anything to do with that, right? Because that's kind of the problem, right? The people at the top, the very, very small group at the top of the Dragon families, which, she also explained, like, in speaking about the Chinese elders, she told me again yesterday that the only person, she said, from the elders, from the family that she had told, from the Dragon families, was the IMF. So, in other words, the IMF is part of the Dragon families. And then she said, and she confirmed, she goes, no, the Rothschilds don't even know. And so the Rothschilds are also part of the Dragon family. And then she confessed something to me this morning that I really thought was incredible, and she just kind of said in passing. But she acknowledged that all the money that had been sent by the Rothschilds to China, that all of it was fraudulent, right? And I checked that with Kim, and Kim said, I mean, of course, we've been saying that. And Kim said, yes, there's nothing there. So basically in this conversation, for anybody out there who's still on the fence, This is a direct conversation with, the actual families and that represent the Chinese elders, right? And and they acknowledge that part of that family is the Rothschilds, right? And they acknowledge that the money that they have been trying to move is fake, right? And so there's that, and I just think that's kind of a profound thing.
And because it's fake, right? It's basically all drawn upon previous allocation numbers in the system, since Kim has, basically enforced, the counterfeiting measures, right? So if you have currency that's pulled up from previous allocation numbers, it basically disappears, right? It's because it's fraudulent. So if they're going to try and do a GCR based on, look, we've got all the money in the account, they move it and it goes, whoop, it disappears.
Right, and then prior it was based on mirrors in the account, right? And the mirrors, the reason why people couldn't move their SKRs is because if you move the actual source, right, the actual asset, the mirror, you could trick the system to have the mirror show, but you can't move the mirror to do anything. So you'll have a number there, you open your account and say, oh, look, there's money, but you can't move it. That's why people had SKRs for years, right? They were like, I have $155 million in my SKR, right? And in reality, there's nothing there. So all, in the reality, the Rothschild, Chinese elders, the dragon families, what they've been doing is just been pirating whatever anyone thought they had, right? So, and one of the ways that they did this now, yes, they used the counterfeit supernotes, but they also took, I get this from conversation with one of the other new elders, and also with, I spoke to the group who, from like one of the Thai elders, claiming to be, this one individual who's in hiding, for the original, who was like connected to the original signer for the Alpha Omega Trust, and allegedly the power of attorney was transferred to this other individual. And so in reality, what they do is they take these things, all these very complex official pieces of paper, and then they leverage them as assets, right? So they're basically kiting, right? So They create this asset, they put it to a fake trade platform, they produce, a fake, they pay back and forth, like, I pay you off and you pay me off, back and forth, and then there's no real money there. It's just, we're just kiting, So basically in China, their whole system right now, they've been kiting. And I actually said to her, I repeated a number that Tommy gave out last week, which was, that the entire Chinese government only has about $300 million to function with. And she acknowledged that was absolutely true. And she also acknowledged that, and she's very high up in the bank game. She's the one who organized the clearing for, these different groups. And I said, they know what time it is. And that's what I said to her. I said, they know what time it is. That's why they want to, now they're desperate to try to work with us. But they've had these options for forever, for at least a year. They've known they could have just honored their agreements, but they never honored their agreements. And I said, now all the banks are on the verge of collapse. And she said, yes, I know. So and she acknowledged it because the Rothschilds have been transferring fake money. So everything's negative in the banks, right?
Right.
So that, that's a big deal, because that really acknowledges all the work that we've been doing, and it really explains, while we've been desperately trying to get through people to explain to them what's taking place, now, because people just wouldn't listen, wouldn't do real research, they wouldn't take the time to actually look at the documentation that's official, that explains this all logically, because that happened, now, you are on the verge of what could be a very dangerous situation for the entire world, right?
Right.
Because, if your banking system collapsed and there's no assets, there's nothing to pay for, what happens, right? Now, we could say, kind of whimsically, like, the people rise up and everything's fine. But in reality, there's a very good chance it'll be, 95% of your population has no idea. It'll just be potentially bedlam, riots in the street, right?
Right.
So it could be a very scary situation for a lot of people. And I don't think Kim's letting that happen. I know that yesterday she said there was less blocks. There was definitely a shift. There was definitely a change. She was not as far as I know, yesterday when I like at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, she had not started moving money yet. At least, not on our level. Which, as far as I'm concerned, I could care less where money goes if it doesn't hit our level because, if you give it to our government, right, it could be 10 years before we get anything, right?
Right.
So, so that's what that is. So, fortunately, like the top, I mean, Kim being the top, and I guess us being the bottom. It's like at least we're in direct communication, and I know that she'll, very soon she's going to break that open to make sure that we get paid. And plus, she would never say that about herself. She considers herself one of the people. So, so there's that. Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful. It's still great news. So it's interesting that they're at the table now, so to speak, with you talking with them about these things. So
yeah, but it's a useless conversation in a sense, right? Outside of just for all of our benefit to understand this, because at the end of the day, I can't make a decision, and neither can they.
Right.
So it's really still a standoff above us, which drives me crazy because I don't think they're not above us, right? They just are in that position where right now, that domino has to drop for the rest of them to go down.
Right.
They don't have to cooperate. Clearly, Kim's just got to either Kim's got to take them down or they got to stand down. But there's that, and then something else I think is really important. We've been interviewing this woman, Valerie Durkinson, from and she adopted these 2 kids from Haiti, and she's been just doing all this incredible investigation. She's got a 120-page file. She's got affidavits. She's arrest warrants, everything you could possibly imagine to get this career pedophile, Catholic Brotherhood guy, Michael something with a G. I can't remember off the top of my head, but but he was part of the, he's affiliated with the child trafficking that went on through Mother Teresa, right? And then she's got just a rock solid case on it, right? And then, lo and behold, I've been talking to another Jean Louis, who's been giving me all types of information from Haiti, and I keep missing his call for some reason because it's hard for him to get through from Haiti. And he's been telling me about the horrors that the Clintons have committed against the atrocities against Haiti, right? How they've just run them into the ground. They've taken everything and they've done nothing. They have done nothing. The same group, they got $16.5 billion, and everybody that was left homeless from the earthquake back in 2010, I think, is still living in tents, right? And so now they're having this big celebration, the Clinton Foundation, and they're going down talking about let's light up the island or something like that, right? They're gonna bring light to the islands to say what a great job they've done down in Haiti, which is such a lie that nobody it's like all they have to do is just show one house that looks great, and they can continue to lie, right?
Right.
But then this is the other one now. So the Rotary Club, right, which all these different groups that we just think are innocent ways to network, right? They end up being like just the connected to the subculture or some secret society, right?
Right.
So the Rotary Club is within their membership, they're making this big announcement like, hey, great news. We are going to invest $70 to $80 million or whatever it takes, and within 10 to 12 years, we're going to make sure that every single person in Haiti has fresh water. And I'm like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Right? So Valerie Durkinson actually, she has someone right now, and then so do I, so do you, I'm sure. Between the two of us, I probably have 10 people right now that we could go down there, and in 2 weeks, every single person in Haiti would have fresh drinking water, right?
Right.
And a sustainable way to keep it that way. And you'd provide new jobs in 2 weeks, easily in 2 weeks, And so 2 weeks we could do it. For them, it's going to take 12 years, right? And we could do it probably if I had $1 million, I could go out and do that in Haiti. $1 million, and I didn't have to worry about getting hunted down by Clinton mercenaries, right? So, Valerie Durkinson, basically, she's new to this, right? But she's been pursuing this, and she's just like, you won't believe this. So everything she says to me, she thinks like the first time I've ever heard it. And I'm like, no, I wouldn't believe it, But she's so passionate about it, and I love that about her. And she's just fighting so hard, and she's so furious because, this is something I can't stop thinking about. these things are not hard. They're not hard. It's not hard to change the world. The only reason why it's hard is because there's people in the way that want to destroy the world who have, basically monopolized the system, right? But as soon as you get them, just a little bit out of the way, all you have to do is just give us an inch. And the world will change so fast and be such a better place that so many of these changes, they feel like they're just impossible to move. How will we ever take care of this? They're nothing. They're nothing. So I just felt like it was necessary to point that out because, this whole process, it's their dedication to being useless, to stalling, right?
Right.
It's like I remember my best friend, right, and growing up, and his mom was like, what you need to do is talk to your buddy and tell him to stop wasting 2 hours coming up with excuses as to why he doesn't do 15 minutes of homework, right? Like, just do the 15 minutes of homework, you'd be done. Instead, you wasted 2 hours coming up with excuses, right? Stories and whatever else.
Right.
And that's what I feel like that is the classic cabal, right? It's like they are
12 years of excuses.
Right? They're like, wait. You don't understand the complexities of the financial system. Listen, dude, believe me, I do. And you're the one making it complicated. All the things you do, that's not the financial system. That's the financial laundromat, okay? Because you are money launderers. That is complicated because it's very hard to get away with those things. But understanding that there's an asset and this piece of paper represents the asset, this allocation represents the asset, that's not hard. That's not difficult to understand. What makes it difficult is that you try to capitalize on people, on their energy, on people with nothing. You drain them. That is complicated because to keep doing that, it takes a lot of effort. It takes a consistent, everyday effort to do horrible things with very little return, Like, people always talk about, like, it's so hard to be in shape and healthy, right? And stay lean. In reality, your body wants to stay lean because that's what's best for it. So to really get, like, morbidly obese, that takes a lot more commitment than it does to be healthy. Because you have to literally eat past your capacity every single day, every single meal, several times a day for years for that to happen, right? It takes dedication consistently, always doing the same thing, always ignoring what your body's telling you, right? It takes time to put yourself in that situation. And on the opposite side, like, you can do nothing. You can just not eat that much, and your body will stay lean, stay healthy, live longer. With this whole system, everything they have done has just been them perpetuating, like, they want to be in control so bad. They want to be, they want to have these horrible, gluttonous, debauchery kind of lifestyle, of just Sodom and Gomorrah. Then it's not even human, right? It's something that speaks to a different group of people here, or different galactics, or whatever.
Yeah, that reminded me. I saw that Serial Brain 2 episode, and that was so. This latest one is really talking about the different groups that are there. Maybe I can pull that up. Which one is it? It's this one. Let me go ahead and find it. I'll share my screen. You could talk for a minute. Oh, I found it.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Okay. Yeah, so there's that, and then they're actually on social media in China. They're actually promoting a run on the banks tomorrow, right? So
who's promoting that?
All over social media, like their alternative media, I guess, is there. They're promoting. Even the newspapers, obviously it's riots in the streets there, so.
Hey, okay. Let me go ahead and play this. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, this is a Serial Brain 2, Epstein Secured, Scaramucci, and Mahar Nervous. Mahar. Anyway, let's watch the SNAK snakes, but with a dollar sign, at the zoo. So this is representing one of the alien hybrids that he's discussing here. Species 2, Demonus infiltratus.
Species 2, Demonus infiltratus. This species is easy to catch. It's recognizable through its inexpressive dark eyes, extremely high blinking rate, and an inability to crawl coherently. Listen to Tucker describe the amazing one he caught.
That distinction goes to Frank Figliuzzi. He's a former FBI official turned talking head conspiracy nut. He used numerology to explain the president's coded messages. Watch this, and keep in mind it is entirely real. We have not edited a single word.
It's the little things and language and messaging that matters. The president said that we will fly our flags at half-mast until August 8th. That's 8/8. Now, I'm not going to imply that he did this deliberately, but I am using it as an example of the ignorance of the adversary that's being demonstrated by the White House. The numbers 8/8 are very significant in neo-Nazi and white supremacy movement. Why? Because the letter H is the 8th letter of the alphabet, and to them, the numbers 8/8 together stand for Heil Hitler.
Got that? 8 is a racist number. That's what they're telling you on MSNBC. In other words, things are getting dangerously crazy on the left.
Frank Figliuzzi is pretty creepy, but he was assistant director of the FBI's counterintelligence division under Mueller and is in the know. He therefore deserves our attention. It's true. 8/8 equals HH appears coded in the date when the president tweeted about lowering the flags. And
anyway, so that he goes on into this explaining how this HH actually, the 8/8 actually is sending a message, but it's really about outing the terraforming and other things that's been going on the planet. So it's interesting to see this guy, and when I first watched it, I knew that there was something strange, and I didn't like him. But
yeah, no, I know.
When it's pointed out that he's blinking so many times, it's 10 times the rate that other people will blink. It's just so wow. Now you can spot it. Black eyes and blinking repeatedly. So he's basically saying this is a different species.
Yeah, and I don't think it's natural for humans to actually have black eyes anywhere, really. I mean, I know very dark brown, but usually not black.
Right.
I've never seen a person with real black eyes.
Yeah.
Definitely not a white guy.
Yeah. So it's definitely unusual, right? And but his position within the FBI, so that's the infiltration. It's just like that movie They, right? Where you can see him when you wear the special glasses.
Oh yeah.
Right, but they were all the newscasters. They were businessmen. Of course, they had the other businessmen that were in compliance, just kind of like the ones that went along with the alien invasion just for the money. Right, they knew what was going on, but they had access to great technology. Actually, it's probably a good movie to pull out of the. Pull out and watch again because it's been a while since I've seen it.
Yeah, I'm always going back now, looking at everything differently, being like, "Are you telling me something?" Like, remember they came back with Star Wars, like they came out with the new series, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, or I don't know, whatever the other guy was. He's explaining the Force for the first time. He's actually explaining the God particle, right?
Right.
And I remember being so upset because he made the Force something tangible and scientific, and I was like, "Ah, man!" But in reality, he was actually explaining the physics and the science behind, raising your frequency, utilizing this, this particle that everything is made from.
Right. So,
amazing.
Yes, it is amazing. So what else is going on? I've been occupied, and I do have a bunch of work. I'm so deep in it that my mind is a little bit out of it. So I'll have to rely on.
What was that? You just told me something before we started this call. Something else besides that, besides serial brain. What was the other thing you told me?
Let's see. There was a terraforming. Since 8chan has gone down, that and this actually comes from this serial brain too. It's has some of it, kind of a tidbit, but some of the others out there are really pointing out that we have been given the way to communicate and actually still get all the information from Trump, from his tweets, because of what was already put up on QAnon from the past. So you just have to draw upon the timestamps of the Trump tweets and go turn that into a Q post number, and you go back and you look. And now you relate what he's talking about in the tweet with what it says in the Q post. Now you actually have perspective on where this is going and what clues are being laid out there for us to now follow. So it's still, even though, because they knew 8chan was going to go down, but they said learn our comms. Actually, I think 2 or 3 times he said learn our comms, archive things. They said it in different, not together, but archive everything, screenshots and other things. So you have a ways of referencing what's there in case it all comes down. But we still have the ability to get Trump tweets, assuming that, right?
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, they're doing all they can. I've been watching them, how heavily they've been censoring, right? So on Twitter, like I'll go to look at something that I'm like, oh, that's really valuable, and all of a sudden my whole screen will blank, it'll be gone, I can't find it. That's how aggressive they are, just taking things out, anything that they think someone's going to use.
Right.
And then probably half my tweets just disappear, right? They go nowhere. Especially if because I love to like tag people up when I'm talking about them. I just feel like that's fair, So if I'm talking about like Kamala Harris, I'll tag her, or Hillary Clinton. They always disappear. So can't trust them. I think it's worth noting that the Project Veritas put out the 950 pages released from their insider, and I watched the interviews and I had my team download those. I would recommend anybody to go to Project Veritas and download those now, because obviously they are a target of Google. Google is a beast, and they probably have some of the best hackers in the world. So wouldn't surprise me if they got into those files and manipulated them very quickly. So I would go download them and keep them off your computer or somewhere just so you have them. But from what I gather from this gentleman, he basically explains how the algorithm is created and how it's hiding everything, which we know, right? But it's a pretty Project Veritas is pretty mainstream,
right?
And they're really, really fact based. They do a good job of backing up what they say. And I mean, they send people undercover and get video all the time. But to have this insider, that's the third insider to come out from Google, and there's others, and they're coming out because they recognize they're completely manipulating the message, right, to be biased to what they call making it fair, right? So I think that's that's big stuff. I'd love to hear what some people go through that.
Yeah,
and then.
Well, yeah, I think more projects like Project Veritas would be wonderful, right? Because why not? We're we can go ahead and keep digging on these things and come up with the information. Oh, I guess one of the other interesting thing about that one of the anons, I think this was Red Pill 76. I just was watching it, and the FBI. Was at Epstein Island, and they're doing scuba dives, right? And they're finding the bones of children. But what he also picked up on is that there is assistance from Russia with their submarines.
Wow.
And the submarine, a special submarine, actually has a way of actually looking at the sea floor. And it scans it, and it can scan down 9 meters and identify things, and it can say whether it's the ferrous material or not, right? And so that it would actually literally be able to find bones.
Right, and they said they found small skulls, children and babies that are being sacrificed, obviously killed in a sacrificial manner.
Yeah.
So that definitely it is happening.
Well, this submarine could also find underground facilities.
Right. Yeah. So I wonder, because what we know from Michelle Walker is, she's actually uncovered the evidence to show that there's uranium, right? That was also part of the whole Epstein thing, right? So they were also taking uranium probably to that island and taking it down through the underground submarine.
Right.
The underground base, they believe, would be connected to a submarine. And,
right.
And that's where they would be taking uranium wherever. They want to blame Russians, but it's not. It's, I'm sure it's just the Dragon family somewhere doing something horrible, as they try to make new nuclear weapons or create war somewhere. I mean, it's not like, these guys are so predictable. It's like, oh, I wonder what you're doing, trying to do something evil. It's like, you pretty much, their expertise is like, raping kids, selling things that aren't for sale, like and things like that. It's like, that's their specialty. Take control of fake assets, leverage them, and create fake money. That's their whole system.
And it's all come to an end. Well, we have a lot to look forward to in these next few days. So I'm anxious to find out what happens. So beginning of next week, it should be an interesting new banking scenario.
Yes, it should be.
Yeah, I'm getting from my banking contacts in London. They're asking me, well, what's going to happen next? what's happening? So now before they're giving me information, now it's like, oh, they're looking. Well, what's happening? Can you tell me what's going on? Since
it's amazing. Like Kim put out terms, right? And I know it was a while ago. I mean, I remember her telling me, like, there's no reason for me to negotiate anymore. They don't honor terms, right? At all. Now she put out the olive branch, right, a couple weeks ago. But the reality is there's no reason for her to negotiate because they have nothing to offer. And she did tell me this, to everybody in the world, nobody is listening to the Rothschild anymore. So in Australia, in the RV world, they were told that they brought in $436 trillion to begin exchanges to do the RV, right, to do the currency revaluation, and immediately I got confirmed from China, like they're pretending to bring in money, right, and they say they're bringing money, but in reality it's all fraudulent, and they don't even have a good way to back it up anymore, right, because they can't even do credits. There's nothing now that they can do other than like enter fake numbers into a system, right?
Right.
So you can't, you can change a couple ledgers, but like maybe you have a coordinated effort of, MS-13 guys working in your banks who will do whatever you say, right? Because you got a video of them like raping young kids or something, and like they don't want that to get out. But for the most part, it's like there's no way to stop it now. They have no control of anything, and I think it's, and on top of that, it was Michael Uriel, right? Who I remember when I was first talking to Kim, right, and maybe like 4 months into us talking, and obviously I was, I just like I am now, but like I was just talking, everything she told me I put out, right, and the only thing that she ever paused me on was talking about Jesper Elleman, because Jesper Elleman was a notoriously ruthless assassin, the real Jesper Elleman, right? The one who's like the king there is Peter Ellerman, now Michael Uriel, right? But the real Jesper is or was a ruthless assassin, like horrible, like boiling babies alive in front of the parents, kind of ruthless, right? And so it was the only time she was ever like, I felt her like she was like a little nervous, like didn't want me to say anything because didn't want me to get killed, obviously, right? She didn't have things in place at that time, and And so it is the same one now who is the one who's running the RV, who's still launching the propaganda, and talking about the RV and saying that they're going to do the currency revaluation. So you got to think like they're the ones moving fake money, and just their world is getting smaller and smaller and smaller as they have no place to run, and they can't do anything.
Right.
And I think that's the real news. I mean, that's the intel that no one's really talking about in this whole. I think all this talk about like is Epstein dead or not dead? It's like who cares? It's like look, that's great. He's not dead. The guys did something and it benefits us. Awesome. But how about we talk about like the complete, shift in the entire world, right? Because the things they're doing, like that are diabolical, right? They have it right now in New York State that by June of next year, that every single child, boy and girl, has to take the Gardasil shot, right? And they're saying that we'll take this Gardasil shot because it'll stop cancer in the cervix. Like, why the hell would a boy have to take a vaccine against cervical cancer?
Right.
What the hell are you talking about?
Right.
This is ridiculous, right? They're like, well, HPV and like all these other things. Like they're talking about 9-year-olds, right? And 6-year-old. My 6-year-old has to worry about that. Are you kidding? So it's ridiculous. And I've been working with these women here now who are, mothers, right? And I'll tell you something. There's 26,000 parents in New York State who are currently, their children have been removed from school and because they refuse to get vaccines. Now, I'm going to take every one of those women, men and women, I guess, and because they're struggling financially for the most part, right? Because now they have to find a way to take care of their child and they can't work, right? And so now they're protecting their child, and it's illegal to use school against parents, right? Like this is illegal, and it's also illegal. There's for your informed consent, you can't puncture someone's skin without the consent of the parent or the individual themselves if they're of appropriate age. And a child cannot consent to themselves. So you have really an unconstitutional laws being imposed on us, right?
Right.
Then there's like further penalties, right? Like as the year goes on, they're going to actually have concentration camps that if you do not get the vaccine, they will put you in a concentration camp, take your child from Child Protective Services, right? So you have the same exact principles that you see in any, like in Mao Zedong kind of genocide, right? We're breaking up the family. That's exactly what they're doing, right? They're intentionally imposing this to break up the families. Now, meanwhile, while that's happening, right, like that is something that's like sensitive right now kind of stuff, like they're making your kids take things that will sterilize them, right? That's terrifying. And we're focused on, is Epstein dead or not? Which is just kind of like, wow, that's a conspiracy that's fun and interesting. And yes, it does have a value. But more importantly, make sure you know your rights when it comes to vaccines, things like that, because that affects you today. Because it's August, school starts in September, and they're going to line kids up like, I mean, to me, there's no difference between this and like, I send my child to school. It's like sending them to a concentration camp, right? Because now they're going to be stood up in line at the nurse's office to get a shot that I have not authorized, and that child would not know. I mean, like I'm actually already prepping my daughter to be like, you have every right to freak out, to tell them that you'll die. I don't care what it is. I will get her to lose her mind to not get that shot. Yeah. And if they give it to her, I will, oh my God, hell have no fury. Like what you were saying, the kind of
like
insane
a tank,
person.
like a tank scorned.
Oh, I will. I mean, I've already decided I'm going to the school. Like, I'm actually going to go over to the school district to address it ahead of time because I'm going to let them know. Like, I already have legal teams prepped. If my daughter comes home and you take it, if you do this, I will press criminal charges against you, and I'm going to take the precedents in. Be like, here are my constitutional rights that I know. We're challenging it right now. And we have a lot of things like this working where with different groups that are already taking legal action to stop things like this. Right. But one of the very first things I'm going to do is I'm going to create, the funding opportunity for these 26,000 people because they are not getting the money that they're already paying in taxes for their child to go to school. they're not getting it back then, right? And now they're suffering because they have to like take time off from work just to make ends meet and stay home with their child. So I'm going to find a way to employ those 26,000 people, and I'm going to turn them into a civilian militia, a parenting militia, of social media and phone calls, and maybe I'll have to print up the Declaration of Independence and put on every single person's door, whatever it takes. But I'm going to do all I can to support those individuals and give them work and give them relief from their current situation. So we got plans in place, is what I'm saying.
I got you.
Everywhere.
Wow.
So, Dan, that's all I got, man.
Yeah,
Drop. I know you got work to do.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of looking at things. So, trying to get set. So, yeah, I think we're good. I'm ready to move forward in the new banking system. I hope we get some good info on Monday, and we're ready to roll.
Cool, man. I appreciate it. I know you're very busy, and I appreciate you still making the time. Everybody, have a great night.
We got to keep going. Push, push, push.
That's right.
Make it happen. All right, everyone. Be sure to subscribe. Go ahead and give us a thumbs up, positive comments. Spread the link, because we're here on the front lines with Dan and Tank, and sometimes Lisa.
Sometimes Lisa. All right, bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
That's great.